good morning, and welcome in. It is Mornings in Meridian. Yeah, that's our way of fixing things around here.
And it works.
Just beat the microphone to death. So, good morning, folks. Welcome in. It is a Monday morning, December the 4th. Glad to have you in here on Mornings in Meridian. Going to be a very busy show today here on the program. Let me move this camera a little bit here.
Oh,
yeah, your mug. I'm sorry. Yeah,
that mug or that mug?
Well, whichever
you want
one,
the mug in the
whichever
way
one you want to go with.
The mug blocking the mug. All right.
Oh, it's that Facebook thing, I tell you. But hope you guys had a great weekend. Welcome into this Monday morning, December the 4th. As you can tell, usually when Rob opens the show, that means that somebody is not here this morning.
Who would that be? I'm here, I think.
Roger B. is not
that
here.
guy. I forgot about him.
You got Rob and Charles Frazier on this Monday, December the 4th. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing great. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Of course, a lot happening across Meridian and the surrounding area. Very busy Christmas weekend all across the board.
Yeah,
so we'll recap some of that from the weekend. And it's amazing, through all the problems that are going on in this country and in our community and all across the world with Israel and
Ukraine,
ceasefires in Ukraine and everything else. The biggest debate this morning is about football.
About football. Yeah, with a local connection. And
I know, right?
Right.
Everything that's happening in the world does not matter because it all boils down to college football.
Right. It's not fair.
It's not.
Not right.
It ain't right. Oh, good Lord.
Oh, here we go.
We will get into that this morning, I promise, because I think in the end, there's not a lot of controversy, but I guess when you start to peel it back a little bit, depending on what glasses you wear, whether they're garnet and gold glasses or crimson and white glasses, you have to look at things for what they are. But we'll get into that coming up here on the program. But we welcome your phone calls, of course, 601-485-9191 here on the program this morning. But, of course, we're online this morning as well. You can listen to the show at WALTmeridian.com. And we're on Facebook Live, as we mentioned. That's right.
We're everywhere.
WALT Talk Radio, YouTube, X, everywhere.
So, man, multimedia.
So there you go. But shopping days are running out, folks, and one of the perfect gifts to get that loved one, be a nice one, too. How about a Toyota from Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia?
Yes, sir. Am I one of your loved ones? Don't answer that, please.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, they've got all kinds of 2024 inventory, brand new vehicles. Check them out online. They list all their inventory at docstoyota.com. Of course, they have a huge selection of pre-owned inventory as well, and all the pre-owned inventory has been through the rigorous multi-point Toyota inspection process, so you know it's a good quality car. Check them out online, as I said, at docstoyota.com, or it's just a short ride up the road in Philadelphia, and they're on, of course, Highway 16 West. But, boy, wouldn't that make a great Christmas gift? I tell you what.
Absolutely.
Not all Toyota dealerships are the same. Doc's Toyota is fantastic. They strive for 5-star service in not only sales, but also in servicing your vehicle. Give them a call today, 601-781-8017, or as I said, check them out online, docstoyota.com. There is no deal like a Doc's deal.
Absolutely. Before we get too deep into the show this morning, try this again.
Hey,
here.
hello.
Mike is continuing to go out here. We do have a question here on Facebook Live from Miss LaWanda, of course, one of our very loyal viewers on Facebook. I'm just going to post it here on the screen. Is there a meeting this morning at 9 a.m. with the supervisors in reference to the garbage increase? I believe there is this morning. I do have a message out to one of the supervisors on the board right now. I actually messaged Josh Todd a few minutes ago waiting for a response. And I believe this is going to be just more of a community discussion more than anything else to let citizens kind of make their, make their ill wills known.
They can complain. It's a complaint session.
I got to pay $68 more.
And I think the complaints are legitimate, that the increase was so significant, but it hadn't increased in 10 years. So, the wiser course of action, I guess as a business person, this is the way that I would approach it, is to raise incrementally every year as the costs go up. Of course, a lot of these supervisors hadn't been in office for 10 years, so they are not really responsible for the lack of increase in that period. But
I guess the longest tenured supervisor, of course, this will be his last few weeks here, is going to be Wayman Newell.
Yeah.
I know Josh Todd has been in there for, at least 2 or 3 terms now. Rutledge the same. So, yeah, a lot of those are somewhat fit in that window. So,
but either way, I mean, you've got to at least, I would assume, break even on that. Although another plan would have been to say, okay, we got a $20 increase this year and $20 next year, and then, in 3 or 4 years, you'd be up to where you need to be. But I don't know what the revenue shortfall is, and maybe that can be explained in the
Now,
in the
is this meeting today at 9 going to change anything? No, because everything's already been done, and the vote happened.
I've already paid my bill, so
is
unless
this...
I get a refund, that'd be good.
A
rebate.
Yeah. Boy, wouldn't
checks in the mail. Okay, I'll be waiting for that.
Wouldn't Doris Speidel and them love to have to take care of that?
Yeah.
Bottom line is, this is just an opportunity for folks to, and of course, I know what some people are saying too. I thought the same thing when I saw this on social media this weekend about this meeting happening today. Wow, the 9 o'clock meeting.
9 a.m. Monday morning.
How many folks are going to be there for the 9 o'clock meeting for the open discussion with the supervisors? A lot of people are working.
Yeah, on Monday morning, right, at 9 a.m.
People are thinking it. I'm just throwing it out there.
No,
So, you know me. Here's spoon and stir.
Right. Spoon and big pot.
Yeah, big pot stir.
I wonder if the college football selection committee could also have some kind of session like that.
Right.
Oh, but come on in. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
We're going to have a discussion after the fact.
Right. And not in Tallahassee, I'll bet. Yeah,
No.
there won't be meeting there.
We're not going to the
Let's
capital.
do it in Tuscaloosa.
We're not going to the capital of Florida. No, sir. But I mean, folks are thinking that. I mean, it gives citizens an opportunity to speak in front of the board today, and what's going to get solved, you get to gripe a little bit, and that's really about it. I mean, I'm assuming that's what this is going to be, and if any of the supervisors are listening, or incoming supervisors that know a little bit of something, JJ.
Right.
Bottom line is, I mean, nothing's going to change, obviously. You're just going to be able to gripe to those 5 members today. So.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, you can air your grievances. That's true. But right, nothing is going to change. But hopefully they can look at this and say, okay, maybe there's a better way to increase fees in the future, and so that they will learn from this and maybe not approach it the same way in 10 years.
Exactly. So,
by the way, here's your bill, $300 now.
Right.
Oh, ouch.
Well, and a lot
doubled.
And the trust between the citizenry and government. I mean, federal level, obviously, that's never going to be fixed. Locally, it fractures it a good bit because we all know this happened during an election cycle where a lot of people were focused on local elections, and a lot of folks, I mean, I'm airing the grievances of folks out in the public that I've talked to, felt like this may have been done very quietly. And of course, the board probably did everything legally because they did it in a meeting, probably had discussion. And of course, they've talked about, I've talked to a couple of them, and they've said, hey, the garbage program, I mean, they haven't had an increase in this long. And probably checked all the correct boxes. But in the bottom line, a lot of folks may not have been fully aware because these meetings, I know they have and the city council does the same thing, the morning meeting and the night meeting. And a lot of folks are going to more or less make the 5:30 meetings. They are going to make these morning meetings. But in defense of the Board of Supervisors, not a lot of folks go to either one of them. They'll gripe on the back end, but they don't go to the meetings to let their voice be heard when it's time. So,
and I think you're right. It was during an election year, so it's difficult to kind of put that information out there and say, hey, please vote for me. We're raising your garbage fees by 60%. But I think that the responsible course of action would have been, and of course, this is Monday morning quarterbacking.
Sure.
We can all look at it and say, oh, yeah, we should have done that. But would have been to send a letter out to each resident or each family, each garbage, point of pickup.
Schedule visits with local media. Come on here and say, hey, we're going to do this.
This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. This is why we have to, because we have not raised in 10 years. It's a big increase. We know that it's coming. That way everyone's prepared for it. They can put it in their budget, and there are no big surprises when you get that little postcard in the mail. So, that's tough to do as well, and of course there's costs associated with that. But still, I think that full disclosure is always the best way to go.
Got another comment here on Facebook from Kathy Anderson. Good morning. She says the garbage fee increase was slid in there quietly like the school bond issue.
Oh, there it is. Don't say anything. Slide it under the door and then walk away quickly.
Hey, listen, I'll do this real quick. Don't do this.
$160.
So, but I'm just wondering how well attended this will be today.
Well, I guess we can report on that tomorrow. So, are you going, or
I mean, we got to be here till 9. We got to be here till 9. Can't be there.
I got to go straight to work.
But I mean, like I said, you can go down there and say, hey, speak your piece, do that kind of thing, if you can make the meeting, because regular working folks can't. So, but
well, I think there's been enough, I wouldn't say an outcry, but certainly resistance to this through media channels, through us, and various other things as well, Facebook and so on, that I think the supervisors are well aware that there's a lot of displeasure amongst the community. So, the meeting is just going to reiterate that. But like you said, how many people are going to show up? The ones who are going to be very vocal about it and feel strongly about it, they're going to go and certainly give them a piece of their mind, which, perfectly valid. If you're going to open this up for, complaints and to air your grievances, then be prepared for a difficult couple of hours, I would think.
Going to air some more grievances here on Facebook. Miss LaWanda commenting again here, and I'm just reading the comment here for the radio audience. Having sneaky supervisors and ones that don't show up to vote are reasons enough not to remove supervisors. So that's our comment there on Facebook.
To remove them.
Yeah, to remove them. Yeah, that's the way it was typed on the screen right there.
Right.
She said, sorry, should be remove supervisor. So, Miss LaWanda, we love you, dear.
Yes, indeed.
Typos happen. So
right.
Let's go to the phone line as we get this Monday rolling. Good morning, caller. Welcome in.
Yeah, I suddenly got my garbage bill, $168. I just paid it because I got to pay for the new building. But I feel sorry for the ones that's just on Social Security and got a small Social Security check and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about paying no kind of bills or anything, but the ones that's old, they're just old up, just what they got when they're elderly like that, that's just how it hurts them. My brother told me, he said, don't feel bad because in Newton County I pay $200 for mine. So I guess we're lucky. I went to that place and paid my bill. There wasn't nobody out there. I just pulled up and I had a guy come out of I don't know where he come from. He looked like a walking dead. I've seen people before that's his eyes was so out of it, psychopath, narcissist. Looked like he had bad 5 years. I said, I'm supposed to be in trouble. I'm going to bluff this guy. So he come right just about up to the car, and I stuck my hand in my pocket. I know how to do this. People been raised on the street, and I stuck my hand in my pocket, standing down while my wife right in front of the door of that place. And I'm thinking, what is security around here? Is anybody even looking? I barely got in the car, and I said, whoa, that was close. Because I seen his eyes, and then he walked slowly all over the place looking toward the sheriff. His car just walked. When I left, he was walking around. I was thinking, where's security at this place? You could get killed down here, robbed, and nobody would even know that out there. So they need to tighten up on their security out there on that place.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say. That was a close call. I've been down that way before.
Yeah.
And he got away with it, but that's about as close to where that guy looked. And when it looked like Walking Dead, I said, I told my wife, we cut it close, but we made it somehow. He got about 10 feet of me before I got in my door. So, like I say, they need to have better security. They got to be out there. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you this morning. All right, 601-485-9191. And going back to what the caller said right there, folks that are on these fixed incomes, I mean, $68 is a pretty significant increase. And, of course, a lot of folks say, well, I don't mind paying it. That's true, but we have to think about these type of folks, too, that they're like, man, we're living check to check, and Social Security is what it is.
Sure,
and
you've got money that you budgeted for Christmas, and all of a sudden you get an extra $70 bill that you were not anticipating.
And some people roll their eyes at that, but that is a big deal. I mean, it really is for some folks. So, but like I said, that meeting I believe is scheduled for 9 o'clock this morning, and we'll see where we go from here. And of course, I will say one thing. We're not going back to the green boxes, folks. That's not happening. Don't even bring that conversation up. I know a lot of folks have talked about that, but that was a very messy and nasty situation.
Well, the same people on Social Security, how are they going to get their garbage out there?
That's another problem, too. So it's underlying problem after problem with all these issues with garbage here in the county. So,
well, it's interesting that the caller said that in Newton County it's $200 a month or a year.
Rather.
They must have better garbage out there. What do you think?
The trash is
The higher quality of garbage.
The trash in Lauderdale County is a little cheaper.
It's trashier trash.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
now I guess and he was also talking about the new Lauderdale County complex.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah. That's interesting. That felt threatened out there, but okay.
I mean, well, it is Meridian, so.
Yeah, I mean, but still, you do have a bunch of sheriffs out there too,
Yeah.
and, the deputies. Which I mean, they're great. So I don't think that they, if they'd seen anything like that, I'm sure they would have addressed it.
Sure. So,
Okay.
so folks, if you are not too busy today, just to let you be aware, there is a 9:00 meeting coming up this morning at the, I guess it'd be at the annex is where they're going to have it at. There in the boardroom, there is where they still have
haven't
the
they
meetings.
moved?
Have they moved everything over there? Yeah, that's another question I got. So
Yeah, where is the meeting? Yeah, that'd be important information to have.
We're going to have a meeting. We ain't going to tell you.
I'm pretty sure they moved down to the new one, but I don't really attend a whole lot of supervisor
somebody
meetings.
will call and straighten us out.
Please, we need straightening.
That's
out.
why we need you out there at 601-485-9191. But I'll tell you one place to go to get all this hashed out. And that's behind a good plate of food, and you're going to get that this morning with a beautiful Rise and Shine breakfast at the Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop.
That's right, exit 150. You know where they are, and of course they do have the Rise and Shine breakfast. That thing will keep you going all day long. And the Biggie Burger, how big is that?
It's huge!
It's humongous. They ought to call it the Humongous Burger, but it doesn't flow as well as the Biggie Burger.
Nah.
And of course today, Monday, we got pot roast.
Woo.
Man. Fried chicken, of course, hamburger steak, beef tips over rice. I know that's Roger's favorite, but of course he's not here, so he can't attest
Hey,
to that.
Roger!
Hi, Roger. And, of course, the veggie plates, they've always got them. And, everything is just fantastic there. The coffee is hot and fresh. The service is friendly. And the people you meet there are just wonderful. So go check them out. The Magnolia Restaurant inside the Queen City Truck Stop. Get something to go. 601-482-0259 is the number you need to call. And, they never close. They're always open. So you can go down there at 3 a.m. and get something good to eat.
Another question here online here. Isn't the garbage company chosen by bids? I'm assuming it is. I mean, that's just another question here from one of our listeners or viewers, rather, on Facebook. I would assume that's the case. But
I'd hope so, yeah.
I mean, just like anything else, I would think with the county how that's done. So, and it's not really, it's not on the garbage company as is. It's the fact of the county trying to figure out, hey, we haven't had an increase in while we're trying to pay for this service because basically it's going into the hole like it is. And, of course, it's a massive increase in this year alone after there hasn't been an increase in 10 years. So, because right now, I don't even think they're breaking even right now, if that.
I guess it doesn't really make sense to me that we contract through the government, and why not just bill the consumer directly from the garbage pickup? With the county government kind of monitoring that and making sure that there are certain limitations on price increase. But why are we paying the county to pay the the contract with the garbage pickup? So instead of just getting directly billed from them, and they would increase prices so that they're on a break even or a minor. I mean, they're obviously in it to make money, so they are. But you know what I'm saying? That
Two and two's not getting to four here.
Well, I don't know why we have the middleman, which is the county, and I guess they're the ones negotiating the contract and everything like that. But I'm sure there's costs incurred by the county through the pickup and distribution of those funds.
I will say this: this is not a quote from anybody. I'm just making this up as we go.
That's what we do.
Most of the time, that's what we do here in the program. We just make it up as we go.
Yeah.
But this fits. If it has something to do with the government involved,
right,
it ain't gonna make sense.
Nope.
that's a redneck term. It ain't gonna make sense.
And it's also not going to be cost efficient, or nor efficient just in general. But it is a private contractor, so it's a private company running that. But paying through the county doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe someone can explain that.
Hey, Michelle. Good morning. She's on Facebook. She says they tie it through the county so that people can't get a car tag until they pay their garbage fee, which is absolutely true. So you cannot get your car tag until you pay that garbage fee.
Okay, why don't they just not pick up the garbage if you don't pay your garbage fee? I mean, but anyway.
I'm gonna take care of my trash a different way there, feller.
Right. Where the green boxes at?
Where's that green box?
There's one behind Weidman's. We'll go over there. No, please don't.
No. Some people probably do that more than you think. Dump the old garbage at their place of business or wherever, and not actually use their own one. Yeah, if they even have a home.
You got to pay for it. Don't you have to pay for it anyway if you have a residence? I mean, I don't think that it's an optional
I'm not an expert on that. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
Michelle could enlighten us because, I think if you have an address in the county, you got to pay garbage pickup. Even if you don't put a blue can out by your street.
All right, just got a message from my good friend Josh Todd, and we are great friends. I appreciate Josh getting back to me. He said it's not a special called meeting for the garbage increase. This basically just a good old gathering. They're just going to have a face-to-face with the citizens there. I would use I would use the other words that was used there, but I'm not.
Yes, keep it clean.
You know what? I am. I'm going to use the words there.
Okay.
For the old Facebook warriors.
Ah, okay.
And, that's, give an opportunity for folks to air their displeasure.
Well, I think that should be, done frequently. I mean, that's a tough part of being a, kind of a servant to the public like that. But,
yeah,
give them the opportunity. Air it out.
The slings and arrows of public service, folks.
Outrageous public service.
Yeah.
That's what we have.
It's been a trashy Monday so far. We're going to take a break.
We're keeping it trashy.
We'll be back. 601-485-9191. And we still got a lot to go over coming up here on the show. All right, welcome back in. Of course, Merry Christmas from us here at Mornings in Meridian. Hope you got an opportunity to head out to one of the great Christmas events over the weekend. A Christmas parade went down as planned Saturday night in downtown Meridian. Of course, they made that decision early Friday and decided to go ahead with it. Rain held off just in the nick of time.
Yeah, dude. It's well attended and lots of flow. So I think a good time was had by all.
Absolutely. And, of course, a big shout out to the Bikers United for Children. Their toy run happened on Saturday as well, and had a great event there as well. And, boy, there's so much going on over the weekend. Sipping shopping, and, boy, it was just a peppermint
market.
pops
Yep,
market.
peppermint pops,
I
too.
mean, you
Yep,
name it,
all
it was
kinds of
going
things.
on.
Yeah.
So I hope you got a chance to take in some of that over the weekend. Our number 601-485-9191, and I see from a distance who we're going to talk about next. And that would be A&A Glass. And I'm going to tell you real quick about A&A Glass. I was leaving the station back on Friday. I have the worst luck with windshields. But anyway, get on the interstate, and I hear a pop.
Oh.
And I look down, and sure enough, there's a rock peck right on the very bottom portion of my windshield. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn around right now because it was 2:30. And I said, A&A is still open till 4.
Yep.
Rolled right up in there. 10 minutes later, rock peck fixed. I'm on the road.
Wow. 10 minutes.
10 minutes that quick.
Huh.
So fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, got it done that quick. And folks, if that happens to you, go by and see Adam and Adam at 8A Glass.
Right. Don't curse. Like I'm sure Rob did.
You no good son of a...
Right. 8A Glass. And, of course, conveniently located downtown 217 22nd Avenue or Cedar Wood Parkway, whichever way you want to call it, just 2 doors down from the Meridian Children's Museum. Number is easy to remember, 601-693-GLASS. And as you said, open 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. Number one glass replacement company here in town. Have been 10 years running, so you know they're doing something right. A&A Glass.
Absolutely.
That's where Rob goes, what, once a week, twice a week? How often do you go?
It's feeling like that now.
Pretty much all the time.
I just have the worst
Pulling
luck.
up again. Hey, Rob's here again.
Just
Okay.
put it on my charge.
And-
Oh, I got to pay for it this time? Okay, good.
Okay,
Insurance?
fine.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so they made it really easy Friday.
Good.
So
Yeah, good folks over there.
Appreciate them. They do a great job. So, 21 minutes away from the 8 o'clock hour here on Mornings in Meridian. After all the discussion about garbage this morning, Tammy Caldwell, faithful watcher viewer there, I have a very important question for Charles.
Oh, it's about garbage?
Will Weidman's be open for brunch on December 24th?
Yes, we will be.
There you go.
And we'll...
Of all the pressing matters.
That's an important question.
Well, y'all going to be serving brunch on the floor?
We'll do, yes, we're open till 2 on the 24th. Actually, open till 4 for pickups, pie pickups and that sort of thing. And then close that night, close the 25th and the 26th, back open the 27th.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are going to do that with Christmas landing on the old Monday this year, as Tuesday will be kind of a...
We always close the 26th anyway. I mean,
Oh, you do anyway? Okay.
It's in England. It's Boxing Day, and it's kind of traditional to close that day. But for me, it's kind of like there's so much insanity before Christmas Day that and then the day of, you're cooking, you're doing all this stuff, you're putting toys together, or you're replacing batteries or putting stickers on things, and then you never have a day to relax. So the 26th is like, okay, everybody calm down, enjoy it, and then come back the 27th.
Recharge your batteries.
Literally. Right.
Tammy said it is an important question. I agree, it is.
That's fair enough. Yes.
Got to get my grub on that day. So there you go. 601-485-9191 is our number. I promise we will get into the college football stuff because that's all anybody is talking about.
Garbage pickup. Yeah.
And I do have Mike Leach with a wonderful quote about the playoff committee from the grave that I'm going to play.
All of his quotes are wonderful. I mean,
but I was able to I got into a Leach mood yesterday. I was like, you know what? Because we're coming up on the anniversary of his death, obviously.
yeah.
And I was like, you know what? It's been a year. Started looking at some Mike Leach, and I ran into this one about his thoughts on the playoff committee. And it is pure gold. We're going to play it coming up a little bit later on in the show. But if you were with us last week, I believe it was last Wednesday, we got into a pretty heated discussion about economic development here in Lauderdale County. And I quoted an article from the Magnolia Tribune about how much money has been invested here in Mississippi collectively with several different businesses, and that was about a $7 billion plus price tag on business and industry investments through the MDA. That's the Mississippi Development Authority. And another article from the Magnolia Tribune, just to pick the scab a little bit more, According to the Magnolia Tribune, Mississippi has been named one of the 2023 top states for doing business by Area Development Magazine, considered the leading executive magazine covering corporate site selection and relocation. Now, the Magnolia State came in overall at number 10 out of the 20 states listed. Mississippi was ranked number 4 in the speed of project permitting category, number 7 in the overall cost of doing business category, and number 10 in the business initiatives program and favorable regulatory environment categories, respectively. Yeah, I say that about 5 times in a row. Each year, Area Development survey site selection and economic development experts to determine which states are identified as exhibiting more than a dozen categories that companies find important in decisions to add new facilities, expand, or relocate. Although there are many states' business rankings articles on various magazine websites, it is insightful to note that respondents in this particular survey on this magazine were professionals who deal with day-to-day site selection and economic development issues. And, of course, there is one site in this particular article that is referenced more than anything, and that is where we talked about it a good bit last Wednesday, the Golden Triangle.
Oh, again.
It says economic developers have known for a long time that companies want to move fast when deciding to add a new facility. And we're going to get into more of that coming up. Land acquisition, environmental regulations, engineering, a lot of other factors go into this when adding a new facility. An excellent example of Mississippi's high ranking in the categories of site readiness program and speed of project permitting was the announcement this past week that a new Amazon facility would be locating in the North Star Industrial Parks, and that is in Oktibbeha County. It's a 50,000 square foot speculative building in Oktibbeha County. The project is slated to create 90 full-time and part-time jobs, and being quoted in this particular article is the CEO of Link, that is Joe Max Higgins. Of course, his name, Higgins, Mr. Higgins, was referenced last week, and one of our callers said we should get on this program because he is one that is really moving and shaking right now up in the Golden Triangle. So, Charles, a new Amazon facility coming up right there in that area.
And there is one paragraph in here that I'd like to read.
Yeah, sure,
it's not very long, but economic developers have known for a long time that companies want to move fast when deciding to add a new facility.
Yeah.
Land acquisition, environmental regulations, engineering, and legal considerations take valuable time after a company has decided to add a new facility. Consequently, many states have focused on having not only a site, but a building as well for companies to consider.
That's pretty important.
What they've got is that they've got that 50,000 square foot building that's already up and running, is powered and ready to go, and it's just kind of turnkey. Move on in. And that's what we don't have here.
That is very important to note as when you look at something like this right here. And, locating the project was a team effort. Once again, team effort.
Oh, the team, right? Everybody working together.
Between the Golden Triangle Development Link, which I just quoted Joe Max Higgins, the CEO of that organization, along with the Oktibbeha County Economic Development Authority. Those are the two that partnered right there. And, of course, the mayor of Starkville was also quoted in this article about their teamwork with these organizations. But it is very key that you brought that up. This is a facility that is ready to go.
Sure.
And these companies, when they're looking for places to go to, that is a huge important factor. I'm glad you referenced that part of the article again there because they don't want to wait, 3, 4, 5 years for something to be built and then...
No, they need it next month.
They need it now.
Yeah, it's not an issue of, let's look at the site. Let's look at the environmental surveys. Let's look at the legal issues, and then... 5 years down the road, maybe we can have something ready to go. Well, who knows what the economy's doing in 5 years, if we need the facility or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
things are moving quickly. So
that begs the question, what are we doing wrong here in Lauderdale County?
Well, we don't have a facility ready to go. That's one thing.
That's one big problem, obviously.
But, they had a list of the criteria that these, the categories of everything they were looking at, workforce training programs, which we are fairly strong here, and strengthening that with the CTE, which obviously was a scaled-back CTE, but overall cost of doing business incentive programs, access to capital and funding, competitive labor market, energy availability and cost, water availability, logistics and infrastructure. Of course, we've got the infrastructure here, and logistics, too, as far as movement of product around.
Right.
Available real estate, cooperative and responsive state government. I said state, but...
state. State. Excuse me.
But,
Sorry.
I would assume that means local as well. Corporate tax structure, site readiness programs, regulatory environment, and speed of project permitting. So
there's a lot. I wouldn't say a lot of that.
We're
but
checking some boxes on there.
Some of that you're checking the boxes. Not all, some. So bottom line is, referencing this article there, a lot of people are like, well, Golden Triangle's getting this, so Tiball County is getting this, Starkville, this, and that. Bottom line is, 50,000 square foot facility already ready to go.
Right. Now, that is providing 90 jobs. So that's not 90, a huge number of jobs, but it's 90 jobs. I mean,
90 full and part-time. Yeah, exactly. So, but, and of course, this doesn't go into the fact they already have a lot of stuff already surrounding in this area, too.
No doubt.
And we quoted a lot of that last week. When we referenced that particular area. And, of course, that was kind of our main focus because the rest of the industry that has been invested in since 2020, the $7 billion plus investment has not just been in Oktibbeha County and the Golden Triangle area, Alcorn County, Admit County, of course, Noxubee, that new plant that's opening there, Jones County, a lot of other areas. And like I said last week, it's just kind of like you paint a broad brush across Mississippi, but the only part you forgot to paint was right
but
here.
I think you can look to the Golden Triangle and say that they are the success story of.
They're the example of what everybody needs to. And how do we do it?
Right.
How do we do it?
Yeah, this is the blueprint. And they've got. I think I read an article that said over the last 10 years they've had over $4 billion worth of private investment in that area. So that's we've had $7 billion recently in the state of Mississippi, but they've had $4 billion of it up there in the Golden Triangle. So that's a lion's share, but it's I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
But bottom line is, I guess, comparing this information here with what we talked about last week, when you put everything together and mix it together, you kind of see another problem we have here in Lauderdale County. They've got stuff ready to go immediately.
Yep.
And that's another issue that we have here locally of maybe why we can attract industry. And like I said, this Amazon facility, like I said, 90 jobs, it kind of is what it is, but still, it's another economic pop to that area.
What it does is it gives one of the premier companies in the nation, in the world, a footprint there.
Yeah.
And you say, well, Amazon's moving there. Okay, it's a smaller facility. That's fine. But obviously, they see something that's, it's a viable economic opportunity. And that's exactly what we need is a major company doing the same here, saying, oh, why not Meridian? Yeah, let's do it. And then other people following suit saying, well, if Amazon's moving there, there must be something to it.
So there you go. So, but just comparing the two, obviously, this is a prime example of we just don't have anything.
But let's look at their
ready
playbook
to go,
and then say, okay, that's what they're doing. We need to do the same.
There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, we've done it wrong for so long. How do we fix the issue? Let's go look at their playbook and sit down and figure out how to fix it.
Of course, right.
But when is that point going to come? Or has it happened already and we're just not following through on our end of the bargain here? A lot of questions.
Yeah.
We
don't have answers. We got questions, no answers.
What are your thoughts, folks? We're getting a lot of feedback here on social media as well, but we want to hear from you on the phone lines at 601-485-9191. One of the endless debates here in Meridian, Lauderdale County has been two big issues as of recent: crime and economic development.
Yes. Too much of one and not enough of the other.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works out sometimes.
Need to balance that a little more.
Exactly.
Down with one, up with the other.
485-9191. Miss LaWanda, love you dearly on Facebook. She says 90 new jobs could equal 90 new cars/houses.
No doubt. I'm not disparaging that at all. I think that's great, but it's, sometimes you think, oh, Amazon's coming, that's 300, 400 jobs, but it's a small facility, but still 90 jobs is 90 jobs. You're absolutely
right. Of course, I see one other part of the equation, too, when you talk about, when you hear the word Amazon, a lot of people are like, oh, wait a minute, that's not a, that's going to invade into our local area, local community. It's not local. But my whole thing about it is it's industry. It's something coming in.
Well, it's distribution. I mean, it's not like it's going to take away from any of our brick and mortars here because they don't have an Amazon shop. I mean, well, they do online, but I mean, you can either order from Seattle or you can order and it'll be routed through West Point.
But trying to explain that though, when people hear Amazon, they don't understand it's a distribution facility though, and that's kind of hard to explain sometimes.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Try explaining the garbage fees. Yeah.
I've always said you got to keep it simple. Yeah, trying to explain anything is
Try
not
to
just
explain the college football playoff system.
Don't try that.
There is. You got some explaining to do.
So bottom line is, as we laid out it's 14 categories that a lot of businesses, these big industries look at. And like I said, Meridian, Lauderdale County checks some of the boxes, but not all the boxes.
And some well,
And
the
some very well.
infrastructure and distribution networks. I mean, we're kind of as far, rail and interstate and everything that we have access to.
And I can hear someone now, we don't need no fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
That's not industry.
Get another hotel. Chicken place, maybe. We could use another chicken place.
And on that note, we're going to take a break.
We should.
We'll be back in just minutes. Welcome back into Mornings in Meridian, 601-485-9191. Got just a few more minutes left until we get to the 8 o'clock hour. Birthday list today. Kind of lackluster today.
Oh. Wouldn't like to be on that list with that kind of introduction.
TV personality and model Tyra Banks has hit the 50 mark today.
Okay.
Sportscaster Skip Bayless, one of the biggest Cowboy fans out there, is 72 today. And this is where you have to wonder with our show prep service. They have not updated this in a while. It says on here, Sportscaster Skip Bayless is 72. ESPN's First Take. He doesn't even work for ESPN anymore. He works for Fox.
Yeah.
Y'all might want to fix that.
Beyond that, Jay-Z, one of your favorites.
Big fan.
54 today is Jay-Z. And other than that, the late Beach Boys, Dennis Wilson, would have been 79 today.
Okay.
Other than that, I did want to sneak one more in here because even though Roger's not here today, he would probably be all over this birthday. Marissa Tomei is 59 today. Of course, we all remember her from
Yes, we do.
My Cousin Vinny. I think one of the most overly quoted movies on this show. Next to Christmas Vacation, obviously, and maybe Caddyshack. So,
right.
So, yeah, Marissa Tomei turning 59 today. Other than that, birthday list is pretty today.
Lackluster.
So there you go. Got a couple of minutes left in this hour. Of course, we'll check in with Sean Hannity and Fox News coming up here shortly. But we will get into the college football playoff talk, I promise.
Boy.
We're going to get into that coming up next hour. I got my Mike Leach quote that my mouth foamed over. Just so funny for Mike Leach. So we'll get into that coming up. But I want to take a moment real quick to say congratulations. Speaking of football, East Mississippi Community College went out to Kansas and beat Hutchinson over the weekend, so they will be playing for a national championship.
Oh, and Natty. Now, is that in Hutchinson as well, or does that move to a different site?
They're going to play that one in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Okay.
So it'll be on December the 13th. And good news, folks, if you want to watch the Lions, they're going to be on ESPNU that night.
Okay.
December the 13th, I believe that's on a Wednesday. They'll be playing out in Little Rock, Arkansas for the national championship in junior college football.
Who are they playing?
Good question. I believe it is a team from Iowa. I believe it's Iowa Western. I believe those two teams played each other several years ago for the national championship then. So, but Buddy Stevens,
right on,
doing it again.
Yes, indeed.
So, but
what a program.
That game will be on December the 13th. I believe the team got home, I would hope, yesterday. Long trip, obviously.
So Jimmy's probably still sleeping, and
probably
maybe,
so.
Or
Jimmy's probably still is sleeping. So, but just wanted to say congratulations to them. Another great accomplishment for that football program.
Fantastic.
As they got into the Final Four and they won, and tough to do on the road at somebody else's place, and they got it done, and they scored with like 52 seconds to go.
Wow.
To win that football game. Yeah. So they'll be going to Little Rock, Arkansas on the 13th to play for the national championship.
Well done.
So good stuff. So Last Chance U still has one more chance to win another title. Yes. We're going to take a break here on Mornings in Meridian. We will get into the college football playoff discussion, the debate, which... why debate it's over with, but we'll still talk about it because it's fun radio.
Exactly.
And also a little controversy surrounding an athlete in FCA that I want to talk about as well. So a little sports talk coming up here on Mornings in Meridian. right, welcome back into Mornings in Meridian. 10 minutes into the 8 o'clock hour. Our number, 601-485-9191. Of course, online at WALTmeridian.com. Facebook Live, WALT Talk Radio. Go like and follow us on Facebook. And, of course, we're on YouTube and X this morning as well. Lots of ways to stay connected to the program. But, Rob, along with Charles Frazier, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And getting ready to kick off this second hour as we go here on this Monday, December the 4th, after a very busy weekend here in the community. A lot of Christmas events. Of course, we neglected to mention Trees of Mary Hope. Of course, they had a lot of big events yesterday. Had Mrs. Claus and Santa down there. And, of course, the Meridian Railroad Museum had Mrs. Claus back there on Saturday morning at their facility. So she made her rounds this weekend.
Mrs. Claus getting around.
That's right.
Say that.
Getting around town. There you go. So, but I hope everybody got an opportunity to take in one of the many Christmas events. Of course, a lot of Christmas stuff. Yeah. A lot of Christmas parades happening over the next several nights. I know Philadelphia is having their parade tonight. A lot of other local communities are going to be having parades over the next several days. So parade season is now
upon us,
or as I like to call it, Parade Palooza. Parade Palooza.
Parade Palooza.
Well, as we move on here, we need to thank our friends down at Barber and Sons Plumbing. And, boy, around the holidays, when you don't want to have the water not flowing right.
Yeah, the number one day to call a plumber is the day after Thanksgiving. But, right after Christmas is like the number 2 day. And, if you need Barber and Sons Plumbing, they're just a phone call away. 601-482-7023. Of course, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, just take a picture of the plumbing part. Show Gary that picture, and then he has got that part ready to go. He'll give you detailed instructions on how to repair it. It's one-stop shopping down there at Barber & Sons Plumbing. You don't have to wander around a big box store looking for aisle 47, bin 32. You get the wrong part, you got to bring it back. Who wants to deal with that? Nope. Just go down to Barber & Sons Plumbing, 1123 26th Avenue. Give them a call, 601-482-7023. I like to say there are no maybes in plumbing. It almost worked. No.
Don't need that.
Guaranteed. Barber & Sons Plumbing. Been doing it over 80 years.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gator Gartman. Appreciate you so much. So they're awesome folks here in the community.
Yes, they are.
I know a lot of football talk from over the weekend. We'll get into the college football portion of that coming up. But one story that really grabbed my attention from the weekend, of course, we had a chance to visit with folks from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes several weeks ago. And, of course, our good buddy Jeffrey Wilson at State Farm, which we'll talk about State Farm coming up here in just a few. But the National Football League, of course, they're getting toward the tail end of their season. They got, 4 or 5 more games left, something like that. Yeah. And yesterday, they do these little special things, and I like this. And it gives the players kind of an opportunity to support something that they support off the field. And they call it My Cleats, My Cause. And, a lot of the players in sports, you'll see them all wear uniforms, that match, obviously, and they wear all the same kind of shoes. I mean, it's basically a uniform design for all the players. But yesterday, the NFL gave the players an opportunity to wear different shoes. And, you saw some players supporting, like, breast cancer and, maybe some other organization that a family member had been affected by. Dak Prescott has been involved in this in the past, too, for the Cowboys with his mother, who passed away while he was in college at Mississippi State.
Sure.
But yesterday, the Washington Commanders, and I still have a hard time wrapping my mind around saying Commanders.
Right.
The Redskins.
Commanding the basement of the NFC East.
They're not very good, but at least they're getting some attention here.
Okay, well, good.
Cornerback Kendall Fuller. Don't know anything about Kendall Fuller, but now we do. He used the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats campaign to express his support for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Okay. Great organization. They do a lot here in our community. And, of course, we talked about that when they were here on the program here recently. And they played the Miami Dolphins yesterday and got curb stomped pretty good. Well, the list of which causes NFL players would support during Week 13 and 14 of the season was released last month. So this has been out for a while. So everybody knew that he was going to wear these particular cleats. As Week 13 crept closer, Fuller was criticized for his support of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Okay.
So I was kind of like, really? We're going to go this route? Well, some organization called Outsports. It is a sports website focused on, you know where I'm going, folks, LGBTQ+.
Okay.
has issues with it.
Plus. Well, what the plus is.
Yeah, they're adding stuff to this every day.
We got more.
They scrutinized Fuller for his support of the FCA.
Okay.
The site described the FCA as having, and I quote, anti-LGBTQ policies and previously criticized the organization's belief system, which reportedly included that marriage is between a man and a woman and a sexual purity statement that condemns sex outside of marriage and homosexual acts.
Okay.
So that's what the website did, is they basically called him out for wearing these particular cleats. Now, regardless of the scrutiny, the FCA supported Fuller, and rightfully so, and any other athlete associated with the group. And this is a statement from the FCA. It says, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes is appreciative to the many players who have represented FCA in the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats campaign. The group said in a statement to Fox News Digital, for 69 years, FCA has stayed true to its vision to see the world transformed by Jesus Christ through the influence of coaches and athletes. But this organization took an opportunity to take a shot at Fuller for just basically expressing his beliefs.
Are we surprised by this?
No, not really
That's
surprised
just
at all.
stupid. I mean, but does anybody care? Does anybody care about the Commanders, first of all?
Well, I mean, I wish I could show folks a picture of the cleats. They have a picture of it here. It's basically the colors for the Commanders are gold, and like it's kind of like Florida State.
Yeah,
we'll talk about them later.
Boy.
Kind of like that garnet
The
gold
number 5
top
team, you mean?
But
okay, yeah.
it is gold cleats, and if folks are familiar with the FCA logo, it's basically like an FCA with a banner and a cross behind it, and it has Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That's what was on the cleats, and it was written in that kind of garnet.
Right.
It was kind of stamped on the cleat, and so basically they're going after him for basically just wearing these cleats. And by the way, it was released a month ago that he was going to do it anyway.
Sure.
So it's like, what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, the relevance of a group like that protesting is, I'm sure nobody paid attention to it. But props to the kid for wearing the shoes and probably knowing that there'd be some pushback from somebody. The Satanists are offended by this. I mean, but he doesn't care. I don't think it's that significant. I'm glad that he did it, and I wish more would do that.
The FCA went on to say all are welcome to participate in Fellowship of Christian Athletes activities and events, and FCA believes that all people are great worth and value to God and should be treated with love, dignity, and respect. Now, of course, the Commanders didn't immediately respond with any kind of comment yet. They're probably rolling their eyes like, we're trying to win football games. We don't care about this stuff.
Why should we even respond? I mean, it's
a little bit more about Fuller. He's 28 years old. He's in his 8th season in the NFL and is in his 6th with the Commanders. He's played in 12 games this season. Has a couple interceptions to his credit there for the Commanders, so he's been a significant contributor there for Washington. So,
in a losing effort?
In a losing effort. They got beat like 45-14 yesterday.
Ouch.
But here's my question here, and we'll get into another player coming up, and that is the quarterback for the Texans. And he did a My Cleats, My Cause thing. We'll get into that coming up. But if this had been, say, Patrick Mahomes, what kind of media attention would this story have gotten? This was kind of a story kind of buried. I mean, really buried. You really had to search for this one, but I saw it yesterday during one of the ball games. It got a little bit of a bleep, and I was like, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, really, we're at this point? But if it had been maybe a more high-profile player, what kind of media attention would have gotten?
Interesting, and interesting you say Mahomes, because my immediate response is, well, the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, and I swore I'd never mention that, but I just
You just did.
I've got to put $1 in the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift jar.
It had been a while.
I know. That's interesting to see what would happen. I mean, I think that a player like that who is highly regarded, well respected, I think he's a strong enough personality that he'd just say, well, that's what I believe, and or anybody in that same similar profile. I'm sorry you don't like it, but that's my belief.
But I'm just wondering, though, would this organization have come at him?
Oh, I think so.
Like that. You think they would have done that anyway? Yeah. I think so. But
I don't think anybody would really care.
Yeah.
And I think that they would realize that, I think that even people, who are of a different sexual orientation probably don't care. And like, why are you really protesting this? I mean, so he's, promoting FCA. It's not offensive. It's just his personal belief. It's not like he's saying as an organization we need to promote that, or that I'm trying to raise money for it, or that we're trying to do something against you. It's just, he's promoting his cause that he thinks is worthwhile.
Well, and the bottom line, too, is the NFL has given these players an opportunity to bring their platform to something simple as their shoes.
Sure.
And to be honest with you, a lot of folks probably didn't even know this happens every year until maybe a story like this. And, of course, the C.J. Stroud one we'll get into here in just a second. But
how many players had an LBGTQ cause on their cleats?
0.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Now, has there been openly gay players in football? Yes.
Yeah.
There has been. I believe there's still one that plays for the Raiders. I believe one of the defensive linemen. But
once again, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
he plays football. He's a great player.
How
who
good
cares?
of a player is he? Right.
But
does he produce or does he not? Yeah.
But it's just an example of where we're at as a society, and I would say a country, but it's a society as a whole right now, that we want to worry.
I find that offensive. I find this offensive.
Everything has got to go down this avenue. I'm offended by something.
Right.
I'll be honest with you, FCA has changed a lot of lives. A lot for the better.
Sure.
And if that's what this young man believes in, more power to him.
Exactly.
And if anybody else wanted to wear something maybe that we don't agree with, you know what? That's their right.
Wear your LBGTQ.
That's their right.
I don't care if they wear that. I mean, wear pink cleats. I mean, whatever it is, rainbow cleats. So what?
Who cares?
Right. I don't. I'm not going to protest that. I don't think FCA would either.
Now, on the flip side of this, if there is a flip side to this, Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. Now,
having a monster year, by the way.
This is a young man who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year.
Should.
I mean, he should win Rookie of the Year for the Texans. He was a first-round draft pick by the Texans, played at Ohio State. He's having a monster year. And he has been in the news with this whole my cleats, my cause thing. Of course, his father is involved in this as well. And just reading the article here from the Daily Mail, it says Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud wears customized prison reform cleats. And basically it has the words "Free Pops" stitched into them as a tribute to his father, who is serving 38 years behind bars. Now, Stroud wore the customized cleats that read "Reform and Free Pops." Stroud's father is 38 full prison near Sacramento. Of course, let's see, Stroud here. Yeah, he wore the cleats yesterday in their win over the Denver Broncos. And, his father's currently serving 38 years to life prison sentence after pleading guilty in 2015 to charges of misdemeanor sexual battery, robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking, all related to a drug-related incident. Now, Stroud's father has been in prison since Stroud was in middle school and is serving his sentences at Folsom State Prison near Sacramento, as we said. And, the rookie quarterback chose to shine a spotlight on prison reform as part of the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats. Of course, as we said, 13 and 14 weeks there. I'm looking at the cleats right now, and it's hashtag reform. It's pretty big on the cleats right there, but and it says "Free Pops" kind of on the toe, kind of one of those little inner parts of toward the top of the shoe right there. But so your thoughts on that reform?
Well, and he's quoted as saying our criminal justice system isn't right, and it's something that I need to probably be a little more vocal about because what he's going through, he being his father, is not right. So, the specifics of his case, I'm not sure about. What were the charges? I mean, carjacking, kidnapping, sexual battery, robbery.
It's a pretty long list there,
Yeah. 38 years to life seems like a long sentence, but, we talk about how light we are on criminals as far as, just kind of the slap on the wrist, and that sounds like a kind of a litany of some serious charges right there. That's a personal issue for him, and if your politics lean towards a liberal and for prison reform, why not? I mean, it's the same with as far as I'm concerned, FCA. I mean, the FCA is a cause that I can relate to. Prison reform is not necessarily something I agree with, but if you're going to open it up for all players to put kind of whatever cause it is that they want to put on there, put it on there. You don't have to agree with him.
Yeah, he went on to say during his successful first season in the NFL, he has relied heavily on a strong support system consisting of his mother and siblings, his teammates, friends back home. and his dad, and I'm pretty sure they're in constant contact, you would imagine, even though he may never get to see his son play in person. He went on to say in this article here, he says, I'm praying to God that something can happen that he can get out and come to one of these games. He said that last month, rather. He says, I've been praying for him a lot. So it sounds like Stroud's got his head on right, relying on his Lord and Savior there, but he wanted to spotlight that, and you know what? That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's great.
So there you go. Stroud's rookie deal is worth 4 years, fully guaranteed, with a total of $36 million, of which about 24 of that was the signing bonus. And I imagine if he keeps playing the way he's playing right now,
he's going to renegotiate.
He's going to renegotiate and get a lot more money.
Right.
So,
but get some good lawyers.
He has thrown for 3,266 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions as a rookie in the NFL for the Texans. So, but
really, last few weeks just come on amazingly strong. I mean, had some great games.
So there you go. So my cause, my cleats, stirring up a little bit of controversy there from football yesterday. Not as much as the college football part, but still a little bit.
That the overall idea, I don't, why even put it out there? Why is the NFL letting it happen? I don't know.
And this has been going on for several seasons now.
They wear a T-shirt underneath that has a cause on it, and so I don't know. Maybe it's just their way of saying, okay, this week, put on whatever you like. Let's get it out there, and that way we don't have to sneak little pieces of tape on a helmet or something like that that's got a hashtag or,
and that's
or whatever cause it is that you're interested in.
We've had folks call up on this program before about the NFL. Of course, they've gone through their controversies with Kaepernick and the knee and stuff like that. Yeah. But if you watch an NFL football game, a lot of people are still criticizing the NFL for those little slogans they have on the back part of the end zone. It says "End racism," together now. It's just those little things that the NFL continues to insert into the game.
Sure.
And
Why?
of course,
Let's play football.
Yeah, and of course you see that anytime a field goal is kicked or an extra point is kicked, and it's like, let's just focus on the game. Your ratings are going through the roof right now. I mean, I think the NFL is on the right trajectory right now, but there's still those small little things that are implemented into the game by the NFL that still turn some people off. And I think I'm like you, this cleats thing, in a way it's good, but in a lot more ways it's bad.
Yeah.
Because you do set yourself up for stuff like this.
You do.
All the time. So it's like if you want to avoid this negative press, just don't have it, man.
Right. Just play the game. That's it. It's a game.
Because I've had one coach tell me one time that worked at Division I level that went out and recruited these high schools. And he said, what, I can really tell a lot about a team by just little things. Like, obviously, hustling on and off the field is a big thing. But I had one basketball coach tell me this one time. I thought this was something really small, but then again, you kind of looked at it. He said, I was out recruiting at a high school up in North Mississippi one time, and the team comes out to warm up, and I noticed that they were all wearing different shoes. Like, they all didn't wear the same kind of shoes, and I was like, why are you all not together and wearing the same kind of shoes? Some had Nikes on, some had Adidas on. It was just kind of a weird deal. I'm like, so they look at that kind of stuff. It's like they're not really a team. It's all kind of individual. He said as the game went on, they weren't playing together as a team. It was, I'm going to do this. This individual is going to do this. It wasn't really a team effort. He said it was a group full of individuals.
Sure.
And he said I could tell just by looking at their shoes as they were warming up. I was like, wow.
Interesting.
So these coaches are looking at a lot of details when they're out recruiting. And, of course, my favorite one is mom and dad bringing Gatorade to Johnny and whoever else at the dugout during innings or whatever. That's one thing they also look at. So, but anyway, but yeah,
your Big Mac.
Big Mac during a game. How about that? So, but
Kentucky Fried, like Bad News Bears.
Exactly. So, but the NFL, to stop this, just stop doing it altogether, man. Just play ball, man.
Well, but I mean, they also do other things. They got the Pink Month where all the coaches wear the pink sweatshirts. Then the Military Month in November. I mean, so they are embracing it as an organization as well, not alone, not even as individuals. So, but yeah, the whole end zone messaging and all that. I mean, if racism truly is an issue in our country, the NFL putting end racism on the end zone has absolutely zero effect on that.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to look at that and go, we ought to end that, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people
for years now. I'm going to end it because I watched an NFL game.
A lot of people watching those ball games could care less about that messaging. That is white, black, green, yellow, whoever. They don't care. They're just there to watch a football game. And everybody that's in attendance to those football games, they don't care neither.
No.
They just want to see their team win.
Exactly.
And if they don't win, they're going to go home mad.
We got to fire the coach.
So it always comes down to that.
We got to fire the coach. It's all his fault.
It's all the coach.
That's right. He was out there playing the whole time with them. It's all his fault. So, but yeah, that's just a couple of storylines from the NFL yesterday. But the NFL's having another banner year. I mean, ratings are up. I mean, they've got great stories all across the league, and it's just these small little roadblocks they keep having. And once they get rid of those, I think
they're putting the roadblocks up.
Absolutely. Anyway. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, this college football mess. I know it's a sports heavy show this morning, and I get that. But we'll take a break and talk more about that in just moments. I think a lot of people got drunk and rowdy over the weekend.
Seen the footage in our bar, so you might be right.
601-485-9191. I promise this segment we're going to get into the college football playoff. It's amazing. That's one of the top headlines on Fox News websites and everywhere else, the controversy. Yeah. I think it's a controversy nationwide, not necessarily here in the Southeast, but we'll get into it coming up. But we do need to thank our friends. We mentioned Jeffrey Wilson earlier, what he does for our community. And I tell you what, good State Farm agent as well.
That's right. Down on the farm, you can save up to $889 if you bundle your home and auto insurance. Not bad savings, $889. How many garbage fees can you pay with $800?
Right.
$889 divided by 160.
Yeah.
Anyway, you could pay for like 5 years worth. But, Jeffrey Wilson will help you combine your home and auto and save right here in Meridian. Give him a call, 601-483-8253. And, it's really good to know your insurance agent because they can evaluate your needs. And he'll meet with you every year and say, okay, you need to add this. We don't need so much insurance there. And so he will kind of tailor every insurance policy for your needs. All you got to do is go see him, and he'll be able to do that for you. So go check him out, 2401 Highway 39 North. Of course, you got to make an appointment. So call him, 601-483-8253. Like a good neighbor, State Farm and Jeffrey Wilson are there.
Absolutely, and do appreciate Jeffrey Wilson so much. But
great guy.
A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. We talked about all of the obviously Christmas events, but a lot of people were glued to their tubes watching the college football championship ball games. Of course, I guess the best way to do this is go back on Friday night. Which is this is their final year.
Yep.
The Pac-12 is
the
going
Pac no more.
They are going away.
Bye-bye.
Great ball game back on Friday night between Washington and Oregon. Went down to the last possession, and Washington obviously solidified themselves as one of the four by defeating Oregon in the regular season and in the postseason.
And I tell you, I saw the last quarter of that game because I was working that night and got home in time to watch that. And I was a big proponent of Bo Nix for Heisman. I thought he was having a wonderful year, but boy, Penix is good. I mean, he's got a rocket and makes great decisions. Certainly one of the top 2 or 3 players in college football right now, if not the top one. But
Absolutely.
Washington has a great case for they need to be in the top 4, and they are. So,
well, I think a lot of people.
I
think a lot of people had said that going into the weekend. The winner of that game, that was the de facto game. Whoever wins is going to get in.
Sure.
Because going into that ball game, Washington was number 3 and Oregon was number 5.
Yeah.
So the winner of that one was going to get in. So no controversy there.
No, none.
So
Undefeated for Washington and deserved to be there.
So we get into Saturday, and the conference championship games were Texas and Oklahoma State, which that kind of started the day, and Texas just embarrassed Oklahoma State. Brock Ewers threw for nearly 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, set some records in that ball game. So Texas
even had an arch sighting.
It had arch sighting, and so they win the Big 12.
Yep.
Their last year of the Big 12, where they come over to the mighty Southeastern Conference. So Texas basically sit back and they'll wait.
They hope.
And kind of sees what happens. So then we get into the late afternoon window, and the SEC championship arrives. And, of course, later on that night, you had 2 more conference championships, and Alabama defeats Georgia 27-24.
Yeah.
And I know you're not going to like this, but I do have a montage ready from Alabama. This, of course, we are your home for Alabama football here on WALT. This is an SEC championship montage from the ball game the other night, courtesy of our friends over at Learfield. And I know you Bama fans are going to love this one.
Alabama, Georgia. It's the SEC Championship live from Atlanta, Georgia.
Snap to Milroe. Jada look. He's got Miller wide open. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Pass is going to be caught by Bond at the 15-yard line. What a catch for a first down. Jalen looking. Plenty of time. Firing left side. It is juggled. It is caught. Touchdown. Misdirection. Balls on the deck. Scrambling for it. Bama came out with it. Trisman Marshall recovers the fumble. Jalen getting the snap, taking the knee, and what do you say, folks? Let's get out of here. Bama, a winner over us out. I dare you.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Chris Stewart there on the call right there. Those were defining words right there. Keep us out. I dare you. And boy, that was a
Throwing
big
the
dare.
gauntlet. Yep.
So, but obviously Alabama, big win over Georgia, 27-24. And I thought this was funny. Someone had put this on Facebook over the weekend because if you unpack an entire football season, one of my dear friends who's been in the coaching profession for several years now, played in the National Football League as well, put this on Facebook over the weekend. It was a picture of Jalen Milroe for the Alabama folks. It said Jalen Milroe apology form. To Jaden Milroe from whatever fan you are, your name, reason for your behavior. The media convinced me he was done. I only looked at the Texas game. I was jealous of Milroe. I didn't watch the actual games. I don't know football. And there was another reason on here, too. But anyway, it says, I will hereby respect Jalen Milroe and will not talk down about Jalen Milroe. So that's an apology fan to from Alabama folks to the quarterback for the Crimson Tide.
You're okay. We'll keep you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's look at the entire body of work here.
Yeah.
If you look back and when they lost that Texas game, Milroe gets benched. I mean, they go down to South Florida and look awful against the Bulls. And somehow, some way, Jalen Milroe redeems himself, and boy, he had a fantastic finish to his year. And so that was 27-24 in that ball game that went into the nighttime. And then, of course, you have the two primetime slots, one on Fox and then one on ABC. You had the Big Ten, which a lot of folks expected Michigan to win that ball game. They shut Iowa out. Iowa was not very good. 26-0. So Michigan clinches that spot.
Done
so you
deal.
got two of the four spots are guaranteed,
Undefeated,
slam dunk.
deserve it.
They're done.
Yep.
And then you get to Florida State. Florida State, offensively challenged, I think is the best way you can put that.
Yeah.
And but they do win the football game 16-6. And in my opinion, championship defense. No doubt about it. A championship defense, but offensively
Sputtered.
just not very good.
As did both teams. I mean, there was very little offense in that game.
So the dust finally settles, and you have the controversy. Who's going to be the other two teams? You've got a one-loss Georgia team that has not lost a game in nearly 29 straight in a row.
Yeah.
You've got Alabama, a conference champion who just beat the number one team in the country.
Right.
And a Texas Longhorn team that looked pretty darn good down the stretch, too.
Sure.
And had a win over Alabama. So basically you had a fight for the final couple of spots amongst a handful of teams. So you get into the playoff committee selection yesterday, and they unveiled the top teams. They unveiled, obviously, Michigan was number one. No big surprise there. Washington was number two. And then the drama ensued. I don't think there was a lot of drama with the number 3 selection. I think Texas, a lot of folks assumed they would go up to number 3. It was that 4th spot between Alabama and Florida State. Well, the committee went with best teams and selected Alabama, and Florida State was 5, and of course the rest kind of hashed itself out behind there.
Sure.
So that's the way. In case you're looking at Fox News or any other news channel this morning, and that's the controversy because this is the first time in the history of the college football playoff. A lot of firsts. First time that undefeated Power 5 team has been left out of the college football playoff 4. First time that a number 1 team going into the weekend was knocked out of the 4. And then a team that was lower than 6 in Alabama that was 8 went all the way up into the top 4. So a lot of firsts happened over the weekend with the selection process.
Sure.
So, but very wacky weekend.
It is because you have an undefeated team that was left out for 2 teams with 1 loss. And I think you can look at them and you can probably say that Alabama and Texas are playing better football right now than Florida State is. However, Florida State is still undefeated. No blemishes on their record throughout the year. They've beaten some good teams, starting with LSU week 1. They beat Louisville, number 14, this weekend. Clemson, which didn't have a great year. They beat Duke, which was, I think they were ranked 14th at the time. So they have had some good wins. But are those wins better than the quality of football that Alabama and Texas are playing?
And
right
a lot
now?
of folks are
That's the question.
And a lot of folks that don't follow college football are trying to wrap their mind around this. And I think a lot of the national media, the news media, not the sports media, the news media, are trying to figure this out. There is criteria that is set up from the College Football Playoff Committee. Of course, they do factor in your strength of schedule, of course, conference championships, all this other. But one thing that they have implemented that they really interjected into your face a good bit yesterday, and it was the big elephant in the room, no pun intended, Alabama. They factor in the significance of an injury to a key player. And for Florida State, they lost their starting quarterback during the North Alabama game the week before they played Florida. And that plays a big role because the College Football Playoff Committee did put that as a part of their criteria into the selection process. So did that punish Florida State? Probably so. Is it right that they're not in the mix? You have an argument there. But I think what the College Football Playoff Committee is trying to do is put not just the deserving teams, they're trying to live up to the billing of the best teams. And I think right now you have to ask yourself, if you put Florida State into the playoff 4, would it be a TCU getting lambasted by Georgia like it happened last year?
Well, and we'll see that, won't we? Because that's who they play. Florida State plays
Florida
Georgia.
State plays Georgia.
So in their bowl game. Yeah, but you got to give them the chance to play.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know. It's all a what if. And
everything in the
Washington
sports
may
world
get
is a
blown
what if.
out
Yeah.
as well. So, there's no, or, any team in this Final Four can get blown out. Alabama had some very tight wins. Arkansas by 3. Auburn by 3. Neither of those teams really were very strong this year.
Arkansas dead last in the SEC.
Yes. State beat them, for goodness sake.
Yeah, State beat them. I know, right?
Wow. And Auburn, I mean, that terrible loss to New Mexico State. So, there are, you can always factor, you can look at so many different things. I mean, Texas lost to Oklahoma, which didn't have a great year either. So, it's you can extrapolate it, to the nth degree.
And I was looking at a list, too. I believe it was the rankings from number 1, the final rankings, that is, 1 all the way through like 12 or 13. And there was something very interesting. Every team, with the exception of 1, is going into 2 conferences next year. Of course, Texas and Oklahoma are going to the SEC. Pac-12 is being dissolved. Oregon and Washington, some other schools, are going into the Big Ten. Every single school that was in the final 12, 13, 14, something along those lines, we're all going to 2 conferences.
Except
number 5, Florida State and the ACC. Folks, bottom line is, a lot of folks can say that it's not right. You got an argument there, I agree. Yeah. But you know what drives sports?
Well, college football specifically.
The dollar signs.
Of course it is.
What's going to be the best product to put on the field for the eyeballs to watch and for the conferences to make more money?
For the ratings.
Yeah. And bottom line is, the playoff committee looked at a lot of things. The Travis injury, Florida State not having a great schedule, and would they dare leave an SEC team out of the Final Four?
I think the Travis injury is more of an excuse. It's we're gonna use that one.
But could they really leave an SEC school out? That's their problem right there.
And boy, but the opportunity to put Texas in, that's a huge fan base. I mean, and is Texas back? Well, they are now, and that's a lot of money right there. So,
a lot of money with everybody, Michigan included.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. It's a lot of money across the board. So,
I don't know about the Washington fan base, but at least you've got the whole West Coast looking for that and supporting that for the remnants of the Pac-12.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Mike Leach, bless his heart, of course, he's passed on. Been about a year since that has happened. When Mike Leach was at Washington State, he had a great take on the committee.
Had a great take on everything.
The playoff committee. This is from Mike Leach and his thoughts on the playoff committee. I think you'll find this kind of joyful right here for you folks who are loving college football right now.
Is the mind-numbingly short-sighted notion that 4 teams for a playoff, somehow establishes something, and that's a very clever approach. I mean, that's such a brilliant approach. That's why everybody does it that way. I mean, nobody does it that way. I mean, if we were so smart, wouldn't all the other sports say, I know what, let's have a committee. because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, I mean, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, I mean, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner. And then we'll decide which 4 teams should go. Because you know why? We don't need to solve this on the field. Because we're the ones that know. And then, so, I mean, if we're going to do it that way, we should just ask them at the beginning of the season, just go ahead and you guys vote on it, figure out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and why even have the games? To me, I mean, it's not a playoff. There's nothing playoff about it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's classic.
The pearls of wisdom from Mike Leach.
There's so many in there.
And you know what? In a lot of ways,
he is absolutely
he's
correct.
right.
Yes.
He's right.
It's not quite arbitrary, but it seems to be almost, Let's go to the resort. We'll hang out. We'll decide who the 4 best are.
And here's the best part about this, folks. This goes away after this year.
Yeah.
It will go to 12 next year. And if we had a playoff 12 now, you would have Liberty and Florida State. Ole Miss would be in the playoff 12. They would be at Georgia.
Ooh.
I don't think they want to go back to Georgia anytime soon. Penn State at Ohio State, Missouri at Oregon. And, of course, your top 4 seeds would be the 4 seeds that came out yesterday. But here's the neat thing about next year, Charles, is the first round games will be at college campuses.
Okay.
Which is going to be kind of neat.
Yeah.
And, of course, they'll use the bowl games in the next round, so it's going to be a little bit of a different format next year. So.
Good. I'm looking forward to that.
But
I'm sure they are in town, too.
Oh, exactly. So let's go to the phone line this morning. Hey, caller, welcome in.
I'm listening, guys. Listen, the reason they let Florida State off this time is Mississippi State probably could beat Florida State right now.
I don't know about that.
That State now, come on.
For the truth of the matter, who did they play during the year?
They beat LSU week 1. They beat Duke. They beat, Clemson, who had an off year. Syracuse, Boston College, the whole kind of
Was
ACC.
any of those teams in the top 10 when they beat them?
Yes, they were. LSU was number 5 when they beat them. Duke was number 16 when they beat them. Louisville number 14 over the weekend. So even without their starting quarterback, they still beat the number 14 team.
Beat them with a third-string quarterback, too.
Yeah.
Now, Texas and Alabama, what teams did they beat that were ranked at the time they beat them?
Texas beat Alabama during the middle of the year, and Texas beat Oklahoma State over the weekend. They were in the top 15. The only loss was to Oklahoma, who is still in the top 15, and I'm trying to think of who else.
You had Alabama beat Tennessee.
Number 17 when they beat them.
They
number
beat
15, Ole Miss.
They beat Kentucky.
Not ranked when they beat them.
Not ranked when they beat them.
Oh, they was not ranked.
No.
Okay. They did not play Missouri.
And then they beat the number 1 team.
Yeah, and then they beat Georgia.
Right.
That was the big one right there that really put them over the top there.
But they barely beat Arkansas. And they barely beat, who was the other game? Auburn. 3 points on both.
3 points.
And barely,
they won, though. They won, though. So,
and barely beat South Florida early this year, too.
Yeah, USF. You're right. Well, like I said, Florida State right now, Mississippi State could beat Florida State right now. So they're looking at right now. What team in the top 10 can Florida State beat?
Well, in the top 14, they beat Louisville. But, in the top 10, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because the bottom line is we live in a world of what ifs, and bottom line is they could get out there and the other team could turn it over 4 or 5 or 6 times and they could win the football game.
Sure.
We don't know that unless they play the football game. So,
well, here's what I'll say, and I'm not a big Oregon fan. Oregon could probably beat anybody right now, even though Washington beat them.
Yeah, beat them twice.
Barely beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a close game.
But Oregon could beat anybody. Okay, I just believe that at any time. So,
Well, and here's the other issue here too. We're going to 12 next year, but guess what's going to happen next year? teams that are around 13 and 14 and 15 are going to gripe next year. So it's going to be a never-ending cycle that college football is going to have. It's not going to matter. So.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, really, what we should be talking about is putting more emphasis on getting smarter instead of more athletic.
Yeah,
you're right.
But unfortunately, that's where the world's at right now, and it's been like that for years.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been going downhill for years too.
That's right. You're absolutely right on that.
You know, on our scores and education wise, I mean, we're going to the bottom. I mean, we're going fast. It's like
yeah.
You know. But,
well, we got to keep
anyway,
we got to keep the station going, so I got to pay some bills real quick. We appreciate you out there.
Thanks for the call.
Y'all pay the bills.
We'll do it. 601-485-9191. But I will say this going into a break here. The one sport that's got this all figured out is NCAA basketball.
I don't know if you left out of the bubble.
Yeah, but they give every small conference a chance.
They do. That's right.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be back. All right, we're running out of time here on Mornings in Meridian. Got Glenn back on the way next. But before we get out of here, we need to thank one of our great friends. That is our friends down at Martin Roofing.
That's right, Doug and Doug. Martin, they are ready to help you with all of your roofing needs. They've been doing roofing right for over 30 years. Locally owned and operated, licensed in the state of Mississippi. And, of course, they take pride in standing behind their work from start through cleanup. You see their signs all over town. They're not running for anything except for to fix your roof. Give them a call today for your free estimate, and they'll come inspect your roof for damage too. 601-485-5920. That's Martin Roofing.
Well, folks, been a fun show here for a Monday. Of course, Board of Supervisors are getting ready to meet.
Ooh,
right now.
That'll be fun.
Be a lot of controversy down there as folks voice their displeasure about the garbage fee increase. So we'll try to get an update on that tomorrow. But, Charles, have a great day.
You too. See you tomorrow.
Right. Glenn back on the way next, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And what do we always say? Buy local. And this country's what I